Hello, hello. Welcome today to our interview with the Patrice Denise. I am so super excited to be interviewing her today and talking to her about her weight loss journey. So let's just get started right away. So,
Yes,
Patrice, how are you?
I'm doing good, doing good.
That
Just
is good.
living life one day at a time, one step at a time.
Living life one step at a time. I was so excited to talk to you because I was explaining to you before, you're one of the first ladies that I saw when I started my journey, my weight loss journey. And there were no Mounjaro ladies out there. You were one of the few. And so I just loved it. I was following you along on your journey. So I'm excited to talk to you because that was when I started following you, it was in February. But you've been on this journey long before that. So I want you to tell us all about your journey. First of all, tell us about your background. Tell us what led you up to your weight loss journey, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, I was previously a teacher as well, a middle school math teacher, and then I ventured off because of my middle daughter and the complications of the pregnancy with her. I went to nursing school and became a nurse. So I'm an RN, and throughout that time, I just wasn't taking care of myself. I was putting my focus into other people. So of course, when we do that, we let ourselves go. My weight crept up, and then also my A1C went up, and my A1C was as high as a 13. I was in denial because I was a nurse, and I was just thinking, this is not me. I know all about diabetes. I know about how to take care of myself. This will go away. It did not go away until I really started taking care of myself, and I got on Ozempic, and we can talk about how I led to Mounjaro as well. But I got on Ozempic, and that did bring my A1C down from 13 to 10, and then to 6. And then I went to Mounjaro because Ozempic was starting to get all of the hype, and everybody started getting on Ozempic, and good hype. But everybody started getting on Ozempic, and so the shortages came. So the shortages came around, I believe that was this is 2 years. Yes, November of 2022. So I had to talk with my doctor about, I wanted to increase my Ozempic prescription from 1 milligram to 2 milligram, but 2 milligram was nowhere to be found. And I just started researching and said, there's something else that got to be out there that I can use. And I found Mounjaro. He actually didn't really know about Mounjaro at that time, but we talked about it and he switched me over to Mounjaro. And then like you, I was just looking on YouTube for some information on Mounjaro, and I really didn't see anything. And I said, you know what, I'm going to document my journey as well. I was already doing like little vlogs here and there, but I said, I'm just going to document my journey. And I started in November of 2022.
Now, where did you find Mounjaro? How did you find out about Mounjaro? You said you came across Mounjaro. Do you remember how you discovered it?
I think I was just Googling other options for diabetes or I can't remember exactly. Maybe I was Googling just weight loss with Ozempic and maybe that word came up. Um,
Okay.
but I can't remember specifically how I actually found it. But yeah.
No, at first Ozempic was just like a lone wolf, right? It was just Ozempic. And then Mounjaro came along. So I guess in thinking back, when you compared the two, would you have just started off on Mounjaro had they been both out at the same time?
I would have, just with the two components of Mounjaro, I think that it is what do they say it? The big kahuna of GLP-1 that right now. It has less, to me, it was less side effects. And we can talk about side effects and all that too, but it was less side effects and it worked better. For my A1C, I can't say that because my A1C was already at a 5.9 when I got on Mounjaro.
Okay. So it had come down from that 13 on Ozempic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I
And
think I feel like I hear that's one of the best things Ozempic can do really is lower that A1C, which is probably what it was invented for. And then they realized that it did help you to lose weight. So that makes perfect sense.
and then from there, the Mounjaro just helps with that appetite control a lot better to me than Ozempic does.
I was on Ribelsis before, but it's Ozempic in a pill, but it wasn't the injection. And I agree. I would agree with that too. But yeah, I'll have to talk about that a lot more because I don't think people realize that I did do Ribelsis first. But I wonder, so the highest my A1C has been, I want to say it's 7.1. I could be wrong. It could be a little bit higher than that. But you were at 13. And I didn't realize your A1C could even go past 10. I don't know
Oh,
why.
yes, I've
But I've
seen.
heard people, oh yeah, they've had some high A1Cs. And then your fasting blood sugar levels, I didn't realize that could be way up there too. I thought 200 was the highest that could go at first. And then when I started researching Mounjaro and Ozempic and all the GLP-1s, I'm hearing people who have these outrageous blood sugar levels. And I was like, wow, I did not know it could go that high. So I know how I felt at the 7%. Now, I know we're all different, our bodies are all different, but how did being at 13% having your A1C up that high, how did you feel?
Looking back at it, I sluggish, always tired. My eyesight couldn't see. I was thinking I just need a new prescription. I actually was put on gabapentin around that time because nerve pain in my feet.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, but I wasn't attributing any of that to because again I was in denial. I didn't want that to happen to me. Family history of it, but no, that can't happen to me. But yeah, sluggish, low energy, probably why I didn't want to exercise
Mhm.
or take care of myself. But
Now, was your doctor saying to you, this is why this is all happening? Your A1C is up this high, and how are you responding to that?
oh, he's a very upfront doctor. I love him. He was with me the whole time since I was diagnosed. He was matter of fact, but still, that's why I think it's a mindset thing with this journey. You have to
True.
be in the mindset to accept the words and to accept the change that you need to make. And I just wasn't there at that time. But he
And
matter of fact with me. You need to take better care of yourself because this can affect all parts of you. But
I'm glad he told you that. I think sometimes what's missing with the doctors is they may tell you it'll affect your kidneys, but they say it in a general way. Like it will affect your kidneys, it will affect your heart. But they don't really break it down. I feel like a lot of doctors and say you eventually you may end up on dialysis. I think if you use those terms and tell them the kidney removes toxins from your body, you're retaining those toxins if you don't get this under control because your kidneys are breaking down. I think if they were more explicit and detailed, and I guess they don't maybe want to scare patients, but I think some of us need that shock therapy. So I'm glad that your doctor seems like he had those conversations with you.
yeah.
And so that's great.
When I wasn't seeing him because I didn't want to hear those words that he was saying, he was like, "Where have you been? Did you forget about me?" So he really wants to stay on top of his patient's health. In a matter of fact,
Oh, very good. Very good. So we all have to strive to, and I think I have a doctor that's doing a great job with my health too. So I hope everybody can find that. So tell us your initial experiences with Manjaro. So when you started Manjaro, you started at, I believe you said 191 pounds, around 191 pounds. And then tell us your experiences with Manjaro. So how was it different right away from Ozempic? You talked about the appetite suppression. Anything else you noticed?
yes, I even though I was losing weight on Ozempic because I was as I believe when I started with Ozempic, I was as high as 220, 215. Again, in denial, so I don't have it documented. My eating habits weren't the best. So what I initially remember with Mounjaro is if I was to eat fatty foods, I would feel nauseous, and I would always wonder why. Why am I feeling? But though that fried food, those fatty, greasy foods would always make me feel nauseous. And then the day after my injection, I just remember feeling tired all the time, and that fatigue said I didn't notice that much on Ozempic unless I wasn't really paying attention to it because I wasn't documenting it. But yes,
Okay,
as well
wow.
constipation again, those
I
side
was
effects.
gonna ask you.
Yeah, constipation.
Now, what do you do to help with constipation?
So for a long time, I was doing Miralax and stool softeners, and that was my go-to throughout my journey. And if you go back to the videos, you would see me talking about that a lot. But now I found that the calm, the magnesium, I'm
Mm.
not sure if you're familiar with that. I take that every night now, and it just helps me go through.
What's the name of your magnesium? Because I've heard of I use Mago 7.
So
You-
it's just the calm. Oh, I wish I could go get it, but it's the calm. It's really supposed to be for stress relief,
Oh, okay, okay.
but it
Stress.
relaxes your muscles basically.
Okay. Which is great if you're on that strength training journey too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking notes, writing that
Right
down.
now, I'm using the Walmart brand, so don't be afraid to get the store bought brand, and it's working.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you for that tip. So tell us about your diet. Like, how has your diet looked? So when you first started Manjaro, is it different than what you're doing now? Because now you're like in the maintenance phase. But so tell us about when you first started. What were you doing? Were you counting calories? How did you manage that?
So I've never been a counting calories type of person. I've tried it. I've tried it in many of my videos, but I just, with my lifestyle and with the kids, and I don't want to make that an excuse, but I, it's hard for me to count calories. So I just try to do the same things over and over. So I try to eat a lot of protein items. So chicken, cottage cheese. I've gotten into that recently. I do protein shakes a lot every morning. It's a protein shake. Eggs. So I try to do a lot of protein items, and I try to back up from the carbs. But counting calories, I've never been. I can't say I stuck to it throughout the whole.
It's tough. Were you ever a Weight Watchers customer?
I did do Weight Watchers. We did all these diets.
Oh, sure, sure. I think a lot of people have counting calorie fatigue from Weight Watchers. And even though you don't count calories, you keep track of those points. You're keeping track of something. It's busy work. You know what I mean? And so even there, I would start memorizing like this is worth this many points so that I wouldn't have to track. And then they came out with the app eventually, which was helpful. But you still have to put things in the app. So I also use that strategy of trying to eat the same thing for at least a week, not forever. But for that week, I keep track of what I eat for that week, and then I'll switch it up that next week. So
Mhm.
I think that's a great tip. If you don't want to count calories, but you want to know what goes in and how much you're burning off, you do have to track somewhat, even though you might not be writing it down.
And I do think that you should, and like I said, I do try it here and there. So I think you should maybe do a day where you do count your calories just to get an idea of where you're at and say, okay,
Hmm.
I need to back up, or okay, I am doing a good job, or I am doing too low. So just maybe a day or two here and there where you do count your calories is good. But to stick with it, I can't say I have, to be honest.
So let me ask you while we're talking about this, how do you feel about weighing in every day? Because I don't notice that you did that. Are you a weigh in every day person?
So I no, I
Mm,
did it every week. I weighed in every week at first
okay.
when I was on doing my journey or documenting the weekly weigh-ins. I did it every week, and then
Okay.
I moved now with maintenance. I moved to every
Once a month. Wow. Now, why did you move to once a month?
because of the fluctuation. I wasn't staying around 160. I may go to 159. I may go to 162 or 3, but I've been just averaging around 160. And as long as I am not going past 165, I'm okay. But seeing it every day was stressing me out.
Now, did you see? Yeah, and that's why I don't do it every day because it does. It's like, but I understand those people who need to see that and can handle it. I think that's key. You have to be able to handle it because a lot of people that weigh in every day say that it directs their day. It helps them know how to regulate. Whereas me, I'll see I did so well and now I'm up on the scale. It'll set me back. And so I think whatever works for you.
That's true. One thing that I track every day was my blood sugars. So other people might track their weight. I was tracking my blood sugars, and that was helping me to see if I was eating appropriately the day before based on my blood sugars. So I did.
That's a good idea.
I did that my
That's
whole 1 year, first year in the journey. hmm
that's a good tip. Can you give us a tool you use to track it?
It's my glucometer,
Okay.
freestyle one touch glucometer.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Now, I've never tracked that, my blood sugars at home myself. I always just wait till I go to the doctor. But that might be, if it doesn't go down when I go back in, because I was at 6.1% my last doctor visit a couple weeks ago. So if it doesn't go down into the fives, that's what I'm hoping, because I'm like, it's 6.1. Then I'll start tracking more and trying to keep track of that more. I go off how I feel, but I guess that's another tool I can use if I get to that point.
And many
Um,
doctors don't ask you to track your blood sugars unless your blood A1C is over 7-ish. So maybe that's why he didn't or she didn't mention it to you. But
yeah.
it was just helpful for me to see where my blood sugars were the day before, based on what I ate the day before.
Yeah, that is helpful. I think that's helpful to track it. Now, I was wondering, so did you set a goal for yourself, your in go weight goal, or did your doctor set it? Because it sounds like your goal was around 160, in between 150 and 160. But I know a doctor's goal, unless you're taller. How tall are you?
5'4".
5'4". So, oh, you're a little bit shorter than me. Oh my God, everyone seems so tall on the video. Yes, you seem so much taller. But so I wonder, did they have a goal, or did they just let you come up with your doctor let you come up with your own goal?
Yeah, he didn't have a strict goal for me.
Okay,
As long as he's concerned about my A1C, and I believe the reason why he wasn't concerned about weight is because as your A1C comes down, what you're doing to get your A1C to come down will in turn help your weight. And so I think
sure.
where he's going with that.
Okay, okay, very good. So we said that you're in maintenance now, so you could tell us a little bit more about that. Let's talk about what everybody knows you have to do on these GLP-1s or taking these medications is get in that protein. So how are you getting in the protein?
Oh yeah, protein shake. I do that every morning. That just helps me because of my lifestyle. I have to get the kids up. I could be making that protein shake while they're getting dressed, and that's quick and easy. And then I do cottage cheese, chicken. Sometimes I might have a protein bar for a snack, Greek yogurt. But as to counting it again, I haven't really stuck to that. But I try to get in, if I can, over 100 grams of protein a day.
Over
Right.
100. That's my goal.
Mhm.
That's my goal to at least 100. And so I'm all about the snacks. So a lot of content creators I'm hearing, and just when you're talking to the GOP1 community, you have people who love the protein snacks and then you have people who avoid them. So I love the protein shake and I'm all about a snack. So if I can't have my regular snacks, I want a protein snack. So so you said Greek yogurt, that could be a snack, right? And then I get the kind that's high in protein. I'm not a big yogurt person, but I thought I need to come up with other snacks and not just the protein bars. Do you have a favorite protein bar and a favorite protein shake that you can recommend, or something that tastes good to you?
Yeah, so the protein bar, I like the pure protein bars, and they're a
Okay.
little cheaper on your budget.
Okay. Okay.
And then the Ratio brand for the Greek yogurt is good. And they also have a granola that's high ratio.
Okay. Okay.
A granola that's good too and high in protein. And then for my protein shake, I use Earth Chimp because they've been providing it for me. So
Okay. Very good.
now
Yeah.
I only have one more shake, and that's for tomorrow morning, or one more scoop. So I have to buy some. So if I do buy some, I go to Ghost. I like to use Ghost.
Okay. I've heard of them. Now,
Or
these are the kind though that you scoop and make your own. You're not, getting it out of the bottles. That's probably more economical, I would imagine too. So, what do you add, water or milk products to it?
both. I sometimes I'll just do water if I'm adding like Greek yogurt to it, or if I'm adding a banana. Sometimes
That makes sense. Yeah.
and I'll just do water. But if I'm just doing the shake with a powder and by itself, I'll add milk, almond milk, or either the oh goodness, my mind just went blank. The oh goodness, what
That's
is
okay.
the milk? It's high
Hair
in
life.
protein.
Yes, I just bought some yesterday.
Yeah. It's high in protein. I've been using that a lot lately.
Okay. All right. Very good. Great tips. This is why we have the OG here. Okay. So
But
let's talk. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was going to say great tips, but just use them how it fits your life. I like to
Yes.
remind you.
Yes. Now, do you have any go-to? And you said a banana. So I always, you can use your nursing expertise. You know what I'm probably going to ask now. I always try to stay away from bananas because of the high carb, content. And then, but I feel like if you're eating them in the morning, because I would eat a banana for the potassium mostly, and then it's just so good. I like the sweetness too. But I would also drink a protein shake. So I've been on this recent slim down by a certain amount of pounds. I don't know how many I had to lose, but I'm trying to get to 50 pounds before Thanksgiving, right? And I cut out the bananas around that time because I thought that's too many, that's adding on to my carbs. I try to eat less than 100 carbs a day. So then I just saw I don't know if it was an advertisement, but anyway, it was talking about how great a banana is in a health care journey, like a health and wellness journey, and how much nutrients, and it's not just potassium. And so I thought that's going to be a question I was going to email my doctor about this banana business, but I have you here. So and you're eating a banana, but you're also a diabetic. You can relate to me on this. So what makes you still feel comfortable enough to eat the banana, even though we're trying to watch our blood sugar levels?
Pros and cons. I just weigh the pros and cons. should I have a banana or a bag of chips? Which one is better? So the banana has a lot of other different benefits besides it being high in carbs. So I just weigh the pros and cons. And like you said, in the morning, I eat it in the morning. I put it in my
Okay.
shake in the morning. So by that time, the carb have a heavier carb meal, breakfast and lunch, and then dinner, you can slack back down on your carbs. So I just say,
In moderation. Okay. I'm going back to buying those bananas and eating those. It's just so
yes.
it's like a go-to. It's a good go-to. And it tastes so good in a shake, a smoothie, doesn't it?
And sometimes I do only put half of the banana in there. So if you
Yeah,
put
yeah.
too much, just do half of the banana. Mhm.
Yeah. Now in my smoothies, I only need half. I like that. Well, it gives a good texture to it. But if
Mhm.
I'm just eating, I buy the smallest ones I can find. So usually at Whole Foods, they have the smaller ones. So that way I don't necessarily have to feel like I have to cut it in half. I'm not buying the bigger ones, I probably would. But okay, so that makes me feel better because I thought, okay, I'm going back to these bananas. I am going to email my doctor just to make sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, I miss the banana. So tell us about your exercise. I know nowadays you're on a different journey, but tell us where you started. So when you started your Mounjaro journey, and even back to your Ozempic days, were you exercising at all?
So with Ozempic, I was not exercising as much as I probably should have. Now I don't know if anybody's ever heard of the program E2M, but I was using that program to help me with exercising when I was on Ozempic. And then when I moved to Mounjaro, I just started really just walking, maybe 3 times a week, 30 minutes a day. But now that I'm on maintenance and I'm setting different goals, now I am looking into exercise more by trying to run a 5K. So I've been doing the Couch to 5K program, a little app. And then I'm also doing strength training. So I've signed up to a program at my local YMCA where they're showing us how to do the different forms and the exercises to target different muscle groups. And I've been doing that. So focusing now on toning up since I'm
And
in the.
toning up. So you lost 31 pounds. Do you have, and that's just starting the Mounjaro. So before that, you lost even more, like close to, then I would say 50, right? Maybe a little
Probably,
bit
yeah, probably,
around 50.
yeah.
Do you have hanging skin at all?
Ooh, yes. So
Really?
I don't know. This is not really hanging, but my
Yeah.
stomach, if I was able to show that, yes, my abdomen area, a lot of hanging skin. Even we're women here, even my breasts
Yeah.
are not
Yeah.
as perky. They're
Yeah.
more down. So
So you're strength training, you're adding that. Do you think if you were strength training the whole time, you would have as much hanging skin, or do you think you were going to have it no matter what?
both. I think I was going to have some no matter what because our skin is stretched out with how big our bodies are at that time. So I think you're going to have some regardless. But I think if I had started strength training right at the beginning, then yes, I think it would have been more toned.
Okay, okay. Because I keep saying I'm going to wait until I lose about 20 more pounds to really add the weights to it. Because I'm already doing things with my own body weight, but I don't want to wait. Is it? Okay. I have a lot of it. I'm feeling the burn, but I'm just not adding the weights to it. So I am planning to add the weights to it coming up here after the holiday. That's one of my goals and see what happens because as you age, you just
Right.
gravity takes over. But you can also build that up too. I do realize that with the weights, it doesn't have to be as bad.
Mhm.
So,
That's part of
um,
the program. She's showing us things you can do with body weight only because we
yeah.
have people
Oh,
in
good.
everybody's not in the same stage and not the same have the same strength. So she shows what you can do with just body weight or if you want to add weights to it. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, that makes me feel good because I'm like, I hear these ladies saying they're lifting these weights and they're doing this and doing that. And I'm thinking I might not be lifting weights, but I'm getting a workout in too. Like I'm getting fatigued, I'm tired, I'm sweaty. So, okay, so I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
So tell us, so what does a day in the life look for you? Because I know on your channel you started vlogging. So for the people who aren't, up with the vlogging that you're doing, what is the day like? So you get up, what is your breakfast, lunch, and dinner routine, and where do you fit exercise and your kids and balancing the mom and wife life? Like how does that all look for you?
hmm So I get up, I do my devotion, my prayer time, and read my Bible, and then I get my son ready for school. in the middle of once I drop him off to school, then I can do my exercise. I can do my cardio.
And
So
how old is he
he's
again?
8.
8.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I get him ready and get him off, and then I come back and do cardio. And then once I finish cardio, then I'm getting my middle child up for school and then sending her on off. And then I start my day. At that time, I go ahead and make my protein shake and drink my greens. I do drink greens every day as well to get some vegetables in. So I do that in the morning, and then I work from home right now. I'm a nurse care coordinator, and so I work with patients all day who have chronic illnesses and try to motivate them to take their medications, follow up with their doctor appointments, and just see if they have anything that they have questions on that I can help them get through. And then in the evenings when the kids are home, I don't have time to really exercise. So that's why I try to get everything in the morning that I can. Now with this new strength training program that I'm in, it is in the evenings, and I have been enjoying that little hour break that I have from parent life and being a wife and just being to myself. That is in the evenings, and I do that. But then I help the kids with homework, meal planning, and meal prepping for dinner. Luckily, my husband, he loves to cook, so
no, that's
he
great.
does do a lot of the cooking for us.
He
And
does a lot of it for you.
yeah.
Oh, wow. So do you say, this, honey, this is what's on the menu today?
Yeah, we have a little group chat where the kids are chatting and saying what they want for dinner. And we do try to, because my middle daughter, we're trying to help her with her eating. In previous vlogs, you would have seen that she was in a weight loss program as well. And so we've been just trying to make sure we all have well-balanced meals as a family.
That's what I was going to say. Has your weight loss spread to your family? Is everyone a little bit on the journey? Are they supportive of you? And then you talked about your middle child. So you're obviously supporting each other. But
Mhm.
has the rest of the family also been supportive with that? It sounds like they have.
They have. My husband, when work life or when free time permitted, we would go on walks together and he would get his exercise in that way. And my middle daughter, we go to the gym together when she can. And my oldest daughter now, she is on her weight loss journey. So, yeah.
So the middle daughter is how old?
She's 14,
14. And then the oldest is
24.
24. Wow, you don't even look like you should have a 24-year-old. Oh, geez, Louise. I love it. So you have that
I'm
support.
42. I'm 42 years old. I
42.
did that before, but yeah.
Wow. So good for you. I think that's so key is having that support and you have it built in right in your home. And then your daughters can support each other. And then I love how, and I'm sure you probably can relate to this with your patients as well, because when you're calling them and telling them they need to do this, they need to do that, you can also relate to them and say, hey, I have to do this, some of these same things. I'm on a weight loss journey. And I bet you that has motivated them more than somebody that's not,
Right.
because they can relate to you.
A lot of times I do tell them my A1C was where yours was at or is at. So I understand how hard it is to stop doing the things that you're doing now. And we talk about those things. I don't tell them the medication that I'm on because that's very personal, but I do just tell them that I've heard that this may be a side effect or this can help with the side effects. I don't necessarily tell them my business, but yeah.
But can you not offer, but can you suggest a GLP-1 medication to them? Are you able to do that?
No, because that would be the doctor would have to prescribe it to them. I can tell
Okay.
them that there are things out there. I can say that there are GLP-1s out there, or there's medication that they might want to look into and ask their provider to prescribe, but you don't liability issues. You don't want to say.
Yeah, sure. Take this,
Yeah.
yeah.
Patrice said to.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I didn't know how far you could go with your being a case manager and calling patients and following up. So if you saw on their history that they are on a GLP-1, can you have a deeper conversation with them about maybe tips or tricks you're doing? Or you're
I do.
still not able to do that?
I do try to do that with them because sometimes I'm finding that these patients, their weight does not change. And I'm just trying to figure out, just for my own curiosity, what's going on that I've seen so many of us who we're losing weight, the weight has been affected, but why is their weight not affected? But sometimes they're on the medication, they're just not taking it.
I bet. Or they probably haven't changed anything with their lifestyle either. So I'm sure that
And that's a
that
good point.
probably,
The medications, we can take it, but we have to change our lifestyle. That's
yes, yeah. And I don't think that message is out in the media at all either. I don't think it's prevalent. I think the message that you hear most of the time is you take this magic shot and you have all these side effects that, and they make it seem like the side effects stop you from eating.
Mhm.
And that's what makes you lose weight. When to me, it's really that happens. It's never a all or nothing. So I'm sure that happens with a lot of people. But I think the people that are successful on it, everybody I heard are making changes.
Right.
Nobody that's really successful is just miserably taking this medication and not eating and having all these side effects, because those are the people that, I know you've heard the statistics, they quit after, or they stop taking it after a couple of months. And those probably are the people who, for whatever reason, they could have been making a lifestyle change and just couldn't deal with the constipation. Maybe they were used to feeling a different way and couldn't take it. But I venture to say a lot of those people just aren't changing their lifestyle. And so I could see how you could feel miserable on it if you don't.
If you don't, like I said, getting nauseous after I ate the fatty foods for me was one of the first things I noticed on Mounjaro. So I had
Yeah.
to cut back on that.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you have to be ready to change, put the change in. You can take it all day, but if you don't change what you're doing, it may not be as effective for you.
I agree. I agree. That's a great message for anybody that's out there listening to hear that. You do have to make changes. So you're in maintenance. Your end goal is to stay between 160 and 150. So you fluctuate between those two. I heard you say you're in maintenance because you're losing and gaining those same 2 to 3 pounds. And so I thought that was an interesting way to put it. You're in maintenance because you're going back and forth. And as long as you're not going over your target or getting too far under your target, I guess that would be maintenance. Now, this is the tough question for you. Do you find it harder to maintain, or was it harder to lose it?
I think it's harder to maintain. It
You
is very,
do.
it
Do.
is very hard right now because by taking my weight once a month instead of weekly, I don't see the fluctuations as fast. And I can't say, okay, I need to pull back. And then sometimes you're like, oh, I can have that piece of cake. I can have that, whatever, a bowl of ice cream. But am I having it too much?
Mhm, mhm,
I don't want
mhm.
to slip back into, I don't want to slip back into old habits. So you have
True.
to, that's why I put in the strength training and put in the new goals of running, because I wanted to have something to look forward to. I think you should always
Yes.
have a goal to look forward to and something that you're working on to help you to stay putting in those good habits.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Yeah. That's a lot of people say they can't wait to get to their goal. We've all been on so many probably weight loss journeys before this. And I used to say that too. Like, I can't wait to get to my goal. And then when you get to the goal, you got to keep the momentum going. And I think, you try so hard to get to the goal. And when you're at the goal, you just think, oh, I could go back to normal. You really can't, though. You
Yeah.
can't really go back to what you were doing before, because that's what got you in the situation. So it's that mindset. You do have to have a mind shift to maintain a weight loss. That's for sure.
And just understand you have to do this for life. Like what you're
Yes.
putting in right now, you have to continue to do it. That's why I wasn't so hard on like cutting things out of my diet. I still may have a piece of candy here and there. Still might have a piece of bread. And some people are totally against that. And that may work for them. That may definitely work for them. But for me, I just knew that I couldn't cut things out because I wouldn't keep it out of my diet forever.
And
And
I'm the same way. I believe in all things in moderation, because once I get to my goal, I still want to be able to enjoy a slice of pizza with my daughter, enjoy ice cream, and I don't want to vilify foods either. I always said that for her. I don't want her to think like it's bad that you're eating this. These foods are bad, these foods are good. We talk about what's healthy and what's not healthy and everything in moderation. So I'm trying to model that for her. So I think that's great, because that will lead us into maintenance and not feeling deprived. But also, I'm glad we're saying this, and it's so true. It's not over once you get to your goal. It's not over. I think that's the big takeaway from our conversation. You still have to put in work even after that to maintain it. And I love how you're setting goals for yourself so that you can keep that motivation, because that's one of the things that I think keeps us going. You're driven to get to that goal and you have this goal in mind. And then I think a lot of people feel like, okay, now that I'm at the goal, what else is there? And so you're giving yourself exercise goals now, movement goals, and other goals that aren't necessarily related to your weight. And I think that's great.
right. Right. I do feel that with strength training, if I was to continue and go higher and higher with the weights with strength training, that my weight may increase a little bit because of just the muscle. And I know everybody says muscle and fat and that 1 pound and so forth, the controversy with that. But I just feel that and I don't want to say the word bulk up because I don't want to bulk. I just want to be toned. But I
Sure.
feel that my weight may go up a little bit. But I don't want it to go past 165.
Okay, okay, all right. And then you're gonna look so toned and good in your clothes. You're gonna embrace that. So, do you have any like advice? I know you have advice. What is your advice for if you're just starting out? I always like to set up the scene because I remember getting my first box of Mounjaro and getting it home and being nervous to even take it. Do I still want to do this? And then taking that first injection, or even before you take it, what's some advice you would give to a newbie?
I would say find your why. Why are you taking this? Why are you going to go down this journey? And have that at the forefront. Do your research. Are you ready to make the change in your diet? Are you ready to make the change in your lifestyle? Do some research and, and just do it. Just go for it. We sometimes we put ourselves to the back burner and we don't do what's best for ourselves because we're looking out for other people, but do what's best for you. Just do it. Get into it and do it. And just do research, be an advocate for yourself. I'm big on being an advocate for yourself, for your health, and just thinking about that why behind why are you doing this? And that should be
No,
your
that's great advice. What what advice would you give someone that's a diabetic, that's starting out on this medication? We all have the same kind of weight loss journey, but I think you have to be a little bit more diligent about what you're eating when you're a diabetic. And you just did these great couple of videos, almost like a series, I feel like, on diabetes awareness and talking to your subscribers about that. So can you tell us what should we be looking out for as a diabetic on this journey?
I would say monitor your blood sugars. You have to. Sometimes, like I said, the doctors may not tell you that you need to monitor your blood sugars if your A1C is at a kind of normal range or an appropriate range. But for me, it was all about monitoring my blood sugar. That helped to drive what I was eating, how I was moving, if I was getting enough water, and so forth. So monitor at least twice a week if you can, or even more. Fasting blood sugar, I would say, would be the best because that can tell you overnight how things were. And then also just look at the other medications that you're taking. If you're on insulin, you may have to start titrating down on your insulin. So
Mm,
definitely talk to your doctor about that. When do they want you to start titrating down on the insulin? And if you're on other pills, how does that look? Should you start taking that or should you titrate down on the dosage of that? So definitely
no.
ask questions. And blood sugar is the guide for me. It was the guide.
It was the guy, and that makes sense though. And your A1C was up at that 13%. So if people out there are up that high or even higher, you can even be higher than that. I would take that advice and definitely monitor those blood sugar levels. And fasting blood sugar, for people who don't know, can you tell us what that means?
Right. So that's your blood sugar after 8 hours of not eating.
So
So
at least 8 hours of no eating.
some
Okay.
people say 12, but at least 8 hours of not eating any foods.
Okay. Okay. Thank
Mhm.
you.
I
That's a
usually
good
do it
tip.
when I wake up first thing in the morning. If when I wake up, as soon as I go to the bathroom in the morning, I would check my blood sugar.
Oh, so you're on it. It's just a routine.
Now I don't monitor it as much anymore since now I keep saying I'm in maintenance. It's like we said, those old habits, you don't want to bring those back. So I do check it here and there. But the first year of being on Mounjaro, I checked it every single day. For 365 days, there was 1 week I didn't check it because I was out of town. I forgot my glucometer, but I checked it every day for the first year of being on Mounjaro.
Wow, that's impressive. That is impressive. And it paid off too. It paid off. And I love how you said you let it guide how you were eating, which is one of the best ways to use that.
And then with checking your blood sugars, it can help guide the titration of your Mounjaro. Because then if you see that your blood sugars are not moving in the appropriate direction, even though you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, then you could ask your doctor to go up in your dose. So that could be another reason to monitor your blood sugar.
Okay, great. I didn't realize that people were on metformin. They're also taking the GLP-1. Can you be on metformin? Is that a form of insulin? I'm not sure.
No, it's a pill to help with managing and excreting the blood sugar out. of your system, helping
So
that.
could you be on insulin, metformin, and GLP-1 medication? Okay.
Because
Okay.
they
Wow.
all work for something different. They're all doing something
Okay.
right. So
Okay.
metformin and Farxiga, because they were doing different things for the blood sugar. Didn't like
Okay.
both of them. I didn't like, but because metformin, it has some side effects to me worse than the GLP-1s for your GI system, and then Farxiga, you're excreting the blood sugar out by your urine.
And I'm sure people who are taking a lot of those medications together probably say if their doctor does not bring it up or is not advocating for them to stop it, they probably stop these medications on their own.
Mm.
I would definitely, like Patrice just said, I would definitely talk to your doctor and bring it up, because I think sometimes if you bring something up once and then you don't bring it up again and the doctor doesn't agree with you, then you just go with whatever they say. But I think if you continue to bring it up and they know you're monitoring it and you're an advocate for yourself, I think thus when you can see some changes. So I wouldn't totally just stop it on your own. I would definitely continue to talk about it with your doctor and maybe give it time. Maybe in 3 months, I'm going to keep bringing this up to my doctor. The next time we see each other, you might want to keep track of what you're doing, and you document things like you say. You had this great tip, and I do this too, but I thought this was a great tip. You
Mhm.
were saying take your phone to the doctor with you, put your information, keep checking your phone, because you might leave the paper, the notebook, or whatever else, but you're not going to leave that phone.
And now you can have your questions written down. You can have, your blood sugars there. You can have just some side effects that you've been noticing on the medication that you want to talk about. Yeah, write all that down or put it in your notes app, and then talk about it. Definitely be an advocate and talk about it with your provider. Some people are scared to talk to their doctors. They just sit there and listen,
Ah.
but
But I think those notes will empower you though, because it's just written communication. When you verbally talk to someone about something, they may not take action, but when you write it down, I don't know if it's just written, it's that documentation, or if they feel like you're serious because you took time to write it down. So I think it's just like journaling your thoughts or anything you write down. I think it has a little bit more value to it. That's a great tip. So if you're out there and you have a struggle with your doctor, I'm telling you, document things, write things down, and they document things. But sometimes I look at my doctor's notes and I'm like, I don't know if I would have put it that quite that way or said it quite that way. They make comments or suggestions or whatever. The numbers are accurate, but
right.
some other little things they know is, oh, okay. So,
Yeah, I get what you're saying, because some of the patients I talk to, they say, we didn't say that during the visit, but I encourage them to go back to their doctor and make note of that. They can.
or sometimes I'll just send my doctor an email as a follow up. What did that mean? And then she'll clarify, because they're jotting down, well, they're not writing paragraphs. They're just jotting quick little things down. And it may be things that I didn't necessarily catch. So, yeah, so that I learned that too. Thank you. I want to ask you before we leave, what's one word that you would use to describe yourself before Mounjaro and even Ozempic, before your GLP-1 journey? What word would you use to describe yourself as far as your weight loss
Oh,
or
okay.
just weight in general?
In general, I would just say existing. I was just existing.
Oh, wow, that's a good word, existing. And so now, how would you describe yourself after you experience the GLP-1s and especially Mounjaro? How would
Um,
you describe yourself now?
so the opposite of that, I would say I'm living. I'm actually living with a purpose. So
Living with the purpose. Now, I love how you incorporate your spiritual journey as well. Like, I love your openings. And when you watch your openings, people would say people don't look at the openings. I'm one of those people that do.
okay, okay, okay. I was
I
trying.
do. And the one thing I notice is that on the openings that you don't have the same message every time, right? You have some different ones. And so I was like, I got to watch that opening so I can catch this. I always say people dropping gems, like those little quotes you have up are dropping gems. They're really very good. And so it allows you to reflect on yourself or your day or set that tone whenever, you're watching it. Tell us about that. So why was it important to talk about your spiritual journey within your channel? Because I think it's great.
I think because, like I said, your mindset and where you're at in life has a big part of your health. And in order to really do a good service for your health, you have to look at the whole person, your
Yes.
mental, your spiritual, and your physical. because if you pour too much into your physical, then you're neglecting that mental part of yourself, if you're and vice versa. But you just have to be in tune with yourself. So by me being in tune with the spiritual being within myself, my mental state, it was able to bleed over into my physical aspect. I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to do better for myself because I felt better, you know.
That the body and mind connection it's amazing. Like you just don't realize how connected it is until you're on any kind of journey. It could be a weight loss journey, it could be a spiritual journey, it could be whatever kind of journey you're on. That mindset is where it starts, which I think is what you talked about earlier in the interview when you gave advice. You have to make up in your mind the why, and the why kind of sets the tone for it's your mindset. Why are you doing this? And
And
that's going to be your guide.
And I also had a lot of struggles with, am I doing too much for myself and taking away from doing for others? So I had to really pray about that. And that helped me to realize that, yes, I have to do what's best for me in order to help others. So I just had to really trust God and pour into him in order for him to pour into me. I wanted to share
And
that.
as a wife and a mom, I think that's a struggle for a lot of us, right? You're always somebody else's caretaker. And you're so right, though. You have to take care of yourself in order to be able to take care of someone else. So I think that's a great message, too. It's so cool. So, anything else you want to tell us about you or anything you want to say to anybody listening that's on a weight loss journey or on a GLP-1 journey specifically?
I would just say yes. Use the tools that are out there. Well, first, use that GLP-1 as a tool. It's there to help you. It will help you with your weight, with your blood sugars. It's there to help you. Use all other tools that are out there, but find what works for you. Comparison is the thief of joy. So don't compare your journey to somebody else's journey. Just find what works for you and continue to go down that path. Don't try to rush it. Just take your time, and eventually you will meet that goal, and you can go from there.
Great. Now, before we leave, we want you to tell us about your YouTube channel. Yeah.
I like to just show the whole me, so that's why I do the vlogs. I do vlog styles. I also do the sit down videos, but I do enjoy just showing my whole life, just so that others can see that even if you are busy with life, you can still live a healthy life. I like to show my family. My kids love, even though my older kids try to act like they don't like to be in the videos, they like. My husband, he very supportive of it, and my youngest, my son, he loves attention, so he loves to pop in and out of the videos if he can. But I just want to show real life, and real life on a weight loss journey, on a health journey, and how it can look, because it's not all perfect.
Now, did you ever feel the pressure of, because you were reporting out weekly at one point, did you ever feel like the weight loss update? Did you ever feel the pressure, and did you ever skip a week and say, I didn't, lose this week. I don't want to go on there and say I didn't lose again. Did you ever feel that pressure?
I felt the pressure, yes. But I never skipped a week, but I definitely felt the pressure. It is very hard to have to be held accountable, so to speak, to the masses.
Yeah, yes.
Sometimes the masses can be critical, but by me sharing it, I'm still showing that I'm not perfect. I'm a human being just like everybody else. But yes, I did. I never skipped, but it was hard.
It was hard. Did you get any pushback or negative feedback from people making comments that you haven't been losing on the times that you didn't?
No, not during those videos, but it's weird that every once in a while I would get a comment on the video that I did like almost 2 years ago saying you need to do this or you need to do that. And I'm like, that was 2 years ago, but okay, thank you.
And they're just finding the videos, which is one of the great things about YouTube, right? 2 years later, you may have a video that was, just okay as far as views. And then the next thing you know, you have views picking up and you're like, wow, that was 2 years later. I'm finding people from years ago and what's still watching their video. But I wouldn't comment and say what you should be doing.
But I just explained that I at that point in time I was in a different place, but what I'm doing now, I just quickly just type in what I'm doing now, and then I offer support to their journey.
I think that's right, because we all are learning. That's the thing. Even now, I'm sure you're still learning some things in maintenance and from some of these new YouTubers coming out, content creators.
I
We're all learning from each other. Yes, it's good to
love
see,
it.
isn't it? Now, how did you come up with the name? I like this, the period, Patrice, period, Denise.
Um, just because I am me. I it's a long history of myself being just in the back and not really being an open person and not really wanting to be out in the open. But I am here. I am the Patrice Denise. I am me.
Now, this is so interesting because we talked about this. I have my times of being social in my younger years. As I got older, I think the gaining the weight just made me an introvert, like really wanting to be at home by myself, not wanting to be out and about, not wanting to be social, always thinking I had nothing to wear or I looked good in things. And when you go from having a nice shape, what we thought was a nice
I,
shape,
I I heard you talk about that before.
until going from that to now you're just overweight and you're feeling self-conscious. And the liberating thing about it is being 50, I don't care anymore what people think is much. And so that has been liberating, but all that stress of that, I think, it just kept me wanting to be in the house even more. So how did you move past that and end up on YouTube?
I just told myself I'm gonna put myself out there. I'm gonna share my life with others, and because I always want to motivate people to do better for themselves, not just health wise, but just in general. And I
Yeah.
said I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna. And it's to me. I said this before too. Sometimes it's therapy for me,
Yeah,
in a way, just to be able to talk and release what I.
it is. And I think, I do a lot of lives, and I think really it is people's therapy too, because you'd be surprised at how many people don't have someone to talk to. So you have a family that's supportive. Just imagine if you didn't have that or friends you could talk to about it. And some people say they don't. They come to the lives and they say they don't have anybody to talk to. This is like their family to talk about their journey. So that's why I think it's great that you talked about your job calling people, and I don't know what kind of insurance that is, but that's great because my dad has an insurance that's like that. They're calling, they're checking up on him. I thought that is so high. Are these patients older?
Yes, I deal with the older population.
Okay, because he's older and they call and they're checking up on him, and I'm like, I'm not getting this kind of care. And I thought I had good insurance. But I think that's great because so many times older people, they get into their one way of seeing things. This has been working for me for 70 years or 75 years. And when they have to do something new, a lot of them don't think, unless they have grandchildren or a purpose, they don't think, okay, I could change this around. And they just think this is my destiny. When really, in your 70s, you still can change your health around. You might not be able to reverse it totally, but you could save yourself a lot of heartache and pain and stress if embrace some of the newer things that are out here to be helpful. So I think that's great that you're calling these people and helping them manage and encouraging them with their health journey. So what a great profession.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. And you as well, teaching the kids.
Oh yeah, and I'm close to retirement too, so I'm gonna embrace that. And I have to think of something else I could do to help out. I always feel like, how you feel like? What did you say?
You could be a full-time YouTuber.
I probably could. I don't know. Some of us are put here. You feel like you're put here to just help other people. And I've always felt that. And then it's like when you need help, though, you're like, should I be helping other people?
Right.
Before I let you go, one last question. What are your plans for Thanksgiving and how are you going to manage the holidays, period?
In my but like I said, my husband cooks. We'll be
I
right.
love it.
I am going to try to do. I did last year the cornbread stuffing or
Ooh,
dressings.
that sounds good.
So I am going to do that again. But I plan to incorporate fresh veggies. Like I'm going to do a chef salad for the family. I'm going to do broccoli salad, but yeah, I'm just going to not overindulge, but I am going to enjoy myself, but not overindulge.
Oh,
I
very
did.
good. Well, great advice.
Today is the 25th. I did just take my injection yesterday, so hopefully that will help.
Kick in. It will. Right. It was so that was what? Okay, a couple days ago. So good. It'll kick in. Okay. You enjoy the holiday and the holiday is coming up. And it was so good to talk to you and nice to meet you. And I'm not gonna say goodbye. I always say this to the content creators. See you in the next video.
Yes, I love this.
Thank you.